You're watching News Central now on News Central TV. I'm Dashen, Usman. The top stories this hour. Nigeria Labour Congress demands immediate reversal of increase in petrol price. PDP Governors Forum backs Fubara as Rivers PDP leader. Algeria President Abdelmajid Tebboune seeks re-election. Details of these stories and more shortly. News Central now at this hour begins with security matters, where President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has promised that those responsible for the recent deadly attack in Mafa, Tarmuwa local government area of Yobe State will face justice. On Sunday evening, suspected Boko Haram terrorists attacked the community, leaving about 80 people dead and many still missing. In a statement released by his special advisor on media and publicity, Ajaero, President Tinubu condemned the attack as an atrocious and cowardly act of terror by a degraded group of criminals. He expressed his condolences to the government and people of Yobe, mourning the tragic loss of lives. He assured the people of Yobe State that those behind this sinister act will inevitably face justice. Staying with security matters, the Nigeria Police Force has directed organizations utilizing the services of its Supernumerary Police Unit, also known as SPY, to ensure that they abide by the guidelines on the use of its newly standardized uniforms. The Inspector General of Police gave the charge during the relaunch of its newly standardized uniforms, saying that it is part of the police strategy to revitalize the operations of the SPY unit, which provides guard duties for companies and institutions across the country. The IGP, who was represented by a Deputy Inspector General of Police, says that it is also an effort to checkmate the abuse and misuse of regular police personnel, as well as ensure that the supernumerary police officers are properly identified.
We are delighted to unveil today a meticulously crafted design endorsed by the force management team. I am therefore most delighted to formally relaunch the new standardized SPY uniform and kits. As we relaunch these uniforms and kits, we mandate all organizations utilizing SPY police personnel to strictly adhere to these standardized uniforms. The force quartermaster and personnel across the states will provide guidance on the registration and acquisition of these uniforms. All police training schools are instructed to adopt the new uniform issuance model for SPY police personnel.
We'll talk more security matters in the course of the bulletin, but in the meantime, let's turn our attention to matters arising from the oil sector. The Nigeria Labour Congress has demanded an immediate reversal of the hike in fuel price announced by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, saying that the hike has worsened the misery of Nigerians. Amid the lingering fuel scarcity in the country, the NNPCL increased the pump price of petrol from 568 naira to 855 naira, 897 naira, depending on the location per litre. Condemning the move in a statement, NLC President Ajaero accused the federal government of betraying labor movement. He recalled how President Bola Tinubu gave labor leaders the option of choosing from 250,000 naira as the new minimum wage.
Stranded and frustrated, these residents of the Federal Capital Territory say that their daily survival is tied to the availability of petrol. Some of them say that they left their homes early enough to join the fuel queue, but that was not enough guarantee to get fuel as the queues stopped moving, and the station told them that the sales of PMS has been suspended till further notice.
What is time now? I'm in the village. I never carry one trip. I never carry anybody.
I've been here since 5 o'clock. I joined the queue up from there. The reason why my car is somewhere here is because people are tired and they are leaving the queue. So the more they are leaving is moving. When I came in the morning, they actually opened the filling station and they started selling fuel.
What time?
That was around some minutes after 7. So, and we're hoping that we are going to all get fuel and get back to our daily activities. Unfortunately, we stood and we discovered that the queue is no longer moving. So some of us came out to come and find out what is happening, only for us to hear that they asked them to stop selling.
Nigerians are suffering. As I'm passing here now, I'm thinking how I'm going to buy fuel. I was just driving and see if I can beg someone to allow me to enter line. But I don't think anybody will allow you because the line is so long.
These people now, all those filling stations, that these people, they drop fuel this morning. They discharge this morning. And they want to sell it in the higher price. Why they know they're supposed to sell this one, when they bring another one, you understand me? They hide their price. But they believe that this is an opportunity for them to make money. And it's not good.
As expected, the situation elicited negative reactions from the citizens who say government must answer questions from citizens that need answers.
This information is going to Mr. President or the people in charge. But maybe people will come out to protest to tell the Nigerians, the leaders, their mind, what they are going through. They will just hear and put deaf ears to it. They don't do anything about it.
We have crude in Nigeria we're exporting to refine and bring back. And our president is an experienced man. We thought that once when he comes in, he will change things within 1 year. But we're surprised things are like this. We don't understand what is actually happening. Is it because they cannot import or we cannot even refine with Dangote Refinery on stream? It's painful. Let the government do something about it, because when you punish people, you yourself will pay a price when the time comes.
For now, this fuel queue remains static, and for how long, only time will tell. In Abuja for News Central, I am Emmanuel Bagudu.
We stay in Abuja, where our correspondent Joshua Imarai is monitoring the fuel scarcity situation. Hello, Joshua. Where are you in the federal capital, and what's the latest on the scarcity of PMS? Hello, Joshua. Can you hear me? All right, we'll try to reconnect with Joshua. Now, moving away from that, Aliko Dangote, chairman of Dangote Group, announced that the price of petrol from his refinery will be set by the Federal Executive Council, led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Speaking at a briefing in Lagos, Dangote said the pricing will be finalized soon after discussions with the NNPC. Dangote emphasized that petrol from his refinery would match the quality of any product globally. An official announcement on the supply timeline is expected after a meeting with the NNPC. According to Dangote, if all goes as planned, petrol from the refinery could reach filling stations within the next 48 hours, depending on NNPC's actions. The Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, has confirmed that the Dangote refinery in Lagos will begin supplying 25 million litres of petrol daily to the Nigerian market starting this September. By October, the refinery's output will increase to 30 million litres per day. The $20 billion facility processes 650,000 barrels of crude oil daily. In a post on X, NMDPRA revealed that an agreement has been reached with the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited for crude oil sales and supply to the refinery in local currency. On Tuesday, the Dangote refinery rolled out its first batch of petrol from its Lekki facility over a year after its launch in May 2023. Following this, petrol prices at NNPCL outlets nationwide rose from about 600 naira to over 900 naira per litre. To discuss this, we're joined by Chief Executive Officer, Cowrie Asset Management Limited, Johnson Chukwu. Hello, Johnson. Thank you for joining us on the news.
Thank you for having me. Good day.
All right. So how will the increased petrol supply from the Dangote Refinery affect the overall fuel market in Nigeria? So many people seem to think it's good news.
Yes, absolutely, it's good news. Because we're going to have some savings in terms of the cost of logistics of bringing fuel from other countries in the world or importing fuel from the international oil trading companies. Because where we have the proximity between the area of place of consumption, which is Nigeria, and where the product is refined, which is also in Nigeria. So costs like shipping charges, insurance related to shipping charges, lead time that may be associated with the time it takes the petroleum products, refined petroleum products to come from Europe to Nigeria, will all be saved. So you certainly have some cost savings that will accrue to Nigeria as a result of the fact that Dangote Refinery has started producing petrol. Okay.
Now, Dangote himself said that, the price of petrol will be fixed by FEC, which will be led by the president. Now, just, to find out, will it lead to a significant, that's this rollout now, will this lead to a significant reduction in fuel prices? If yes, how quickly can we expect to see these changes?
I think it might not lead to any significant, if at all, any reduction in fuel price. Because if there's going to be that reduction in fuel price, then we wouldn't have been talking of an increase in fuel price that was affected yesterday. But beyond that, bear in mind that even the current pump price of fuel as adjusted yesterday still has some element of subsidy in it. Because once subsidy is fully eliminated, Dangote wouldn't have a need for the Federal Reserve Council to fix the price of PMS or fuel. Currently, Dangote has been producing or refining AGO, which is diesel, and the federal government did not fix the price of diesel. Dangote refines diesel and sells to the Nigerian traders, who in turn sell to the average consumers, So similarly, that should also have applied if the pump price of fuel is based on cost plus recovery pump price. So, but because there's some element of subsidy, and that's what Dangote is saying, that it is the presidency or the executive council that will determine what level of subsidy that will apply. And that's why he said that the presidency or Federal Reserve Council will fix the price of fuel. Because what he's saying in effect is that it is the government that will determine what level of subsidy that will be integrated into the pump price of fuel. And that's why I said clearly, it doesn't, unless the government wants to further increase the subsidy. Otherwise, the only factor that will lead to a material reduction in the pump price of fuel is if Naira strengthens. As long as Naira is currently exchanging at the current exchange rate, obviously, the pump price may not move downwards.
Okay, but what are the economic benefits of the Dangote Refinery, particularly in terms of reducing Nigeria's dependence of fuel imports and also saving on foreign exchange?
Well, let's start from reducing Nigeria's dependence on fuel imports. The Dangote Refinery has a capacity to refine 650,000 barrels a day. Nigeria's average refined petroleum consumption prior to removal of subsidy was about 66.7 million barrels a day. After the subsidy removal, it dropped to about 44 million barrels. 66.7 million liters a day. After the subsidy removal on 29th of May 2023, it dropped to about 44 million liters a day. Of course, it has each backed about 65 million liters a day. So in effect, Dangote has the capacity when it begins to produce fully. Of course, the report that was announced by Nigerian Midstream and Dashen Petroleum Regulatory Authority, it stated that it will start producing 25 million liters a day and eventually move to about 30 million liters a day in October, which means up to October and beyond, until it begins to achieve full capacity, Nigeria will still have to import about 50% of its refined PMS. But in the meantime, we're going to have a reduction in that import. What that means is when Dangote becomes fully operational or it attains its full capacity, Nigeria may end up saving about 30% of our current import bill. Bear in mind that PMS imports, based on the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics first quarter trade report, indicated that PMS import was about 20.84% of total imports, and AGO import about 9.46%. So in effect, Nigeria's total import is about 30.3% of refined petroleum products, excluding ATK and other minor products. So that's what will be saved when Dangote becomes fully, when the Dangote achieves full production capacity. Okay. Having said that, there are also other things we have to bear in mind. That in terms of export earnings, export of crude account for about 80% of total exports. So that's also a significant portion of that will also have to be forgone because the federal government is going to sell part of that crude to NNPC. Yeah. But give and take, there is a value creation, value addition. As long as we get the economics right, what we lose, partly what we lose from sale of crude to Dangote will be offset by savings in terms of cost of refined petroleum product. But we must not lose sight of the fact that for us to achieve the optimum benefit of Dangote refinery, we need to increase crude production. If we do not increase crude production, ultimately we are going to see a major decline in our foreign exchange, which will constrain and just economic activity in several facets of our economic engagement, particularly our external trade transactions, because 80% of our foreign exchange is coming from sale of crude. Definitely. So if all the crude channeled to Dangote refinery, we may not have anything to earn from export. So we must, as a nation, now Dangote has come on stream, make sure we increase crude production to be able to supply Dangote 650,000 barrels a day and still have enough to export to meet other needs of the country.
Absolutely, Johnson. We'll wait to see how this turns out. But thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you for having me.
We go on a break now, and when we return, Nigeria's federal government begins prosecution of arrested illegal mining suspects in Kogi, Ondo states. We'll also connect with our correspondents in Abuja and Lagos on the fuel scarcity situation. Stay with us. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. We're now going back to our correspondents who are following and monitoring the fuel scarcity situation in Lagos and also in Abuja. We have Bernard Akede in Lagos and we also have Joshua Marai in Abuja. Hello guys, thanks for joining. Let's begin with you, Joshua Marai. Can you give us an update of the fuel situation in Abuja, and please tell us where you are at the moment? Joshua, can you hear me?
Well, I'm currently at the NNPC dispensary station here at Use Zone 3 here in the Federal Capital Territory. As you can see behind me, there are long queues of motorists who are waiting in line to get the products. But unfortunately, they are complaining that they've been here since the early hours of today, and still, even though the prices of fuel have gone up, they've not gotten the products for themselves. And according to some of them who I spoke to earlier, they complain that while they wait in line, some people who just came, who they call VIPs, they just got direct access into the fuel station while they have to wait in line. And what is currently happening here in Abuja is that there seems to be a thriving market for black market sellers where we are seeing a scarcity of the products, but the market sellers, they have plenty of fuel to sell while others wait in line. This is the current situation here in the Federal Capital Territory.
Okay. We'll come back to you on black market sellers, but let's find out from Bernard Akede where he is in Lagos State and what is the scarcity situation like.
Hello, Dashen. I'm in Bagada area here in Lagos State, and this fuel station where I was yesterday, that was pretty much empty except for the queue in front of it that spanned more than 2 kilometers long. It's looking the same with the same queue, but the only difference now is the gates of the fuel station have been thrown open and they are now selling petrol. Another difference, however, is that prior to today, petrol was sold here at the rate of 620 naira per litre. But now that they're selling, I can confirm to you that the prices have indeed gone up. The price now per litre is 920 naira per litre. And I can tell you that vehicle after vehicle, passenger after passenger, all we've been hearing have been complaints, and more complaints and lamentation from the people of Lagos here, complaining about how this significant increase in the price of petrol per litre would also lead to a lot of discomfort and will increase, increase the hardship and the suffering of Nigerians from now on.
Bernard, do you have an idea of why the amount was increased in less than 2 days?
Well, I mean, we've been getting speculations about an increase in price. There were some who said that because of the amount of money owed by the NNPC to the private marketers of petrol, that may have been the cause of why the price has gone up. However, there has not been any official statements yet by the NNPC. The NNPC did, however, acknowledge that they are owing private petrol marketers huge amounts of money or significant amounts of money, as they used in that statement. But we still don't know why the price has gone up so high, about 300 naira in some places even more. All we know is that people went to bed yesterday with speculations and woke up today with affirmation and confirmation that the price has actually gone up. Just before we go, there's a gentleman who has been lingering around. Please come. He's been lamenting. He's one of the many people who have been complaining about what has happened. Please tell us your name and what the issue is right now.
Good morning, fellow Nigeria. What we have here now at Northwest, that's along Oshodi Expressway, the fuel sold by 920 per liters, which is getting too much now. You can see the queue is too much. It's getting too much. So what we need now, Nigeria need now, is that we are appeal to federal government, which is Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You should please help us amend this issue. It's getting worse. Please, sir.
All right, well, that's one of the many people who have been pretty much, hovering around me, wanting to say something about how the increase in price significantly has affected and will continue to affect their livelihood until somehow people get used to it and adjust their way of life.
Oh, of course, Bernard. Let's come back to you, Joshua. Earlier, you were talking about black marketers selling fuel. How did they get access, to the PMS, considering that instructions were given that, filling stations shouldn't sell in jerry cans? Joshua, can you hear me?
There seems to be an already prepared arrangement as to how these guys get their fuel. Currently now, a 10 litre of the petroleum product is being sold for 13,000 naira. But according to what I heard from one of these black market sellers, most of these guys get their product late at night when everybody's asleep. This seems to be the arrangement. There seems to be a nocturnal arrangement within the sellers and the black market sellers. Well, I have someone here who is who has experienced the scarcity and the wait in line, who is here to speak with us. His name is Jonathan, Mr. Jonathan. Mr. Jonathan here, Mr. Johnson here has a first-hand experience so far as to how everything is transpiring here. So tell us, what has been your experience so far getting the product?
My name is Johnson. I've been on queue from the Zenith Bank. We turned around. We thought the line was moving. Take a walk to the station to see what was happening, and we discovered that you have to come with a receipt or a letter from NNPC to enter the station to get fuel through. Now, as you can see to this side, this is supposed to be the entrance gate. Since morning, no single car has entered from this place. You have to come with a special note from NNPC to enter from that side, or you have money to give to them before you can enter to buy fuel. That is the experience.
Well, there seems to be a thriving market for black market sellers. Do you have any idea of how these guys get their products? And do you have any idea of how they sell their products?
Honestly, I don't know how they get this product, because as you can watch, as I'm watching now, they are not selling to the black marketers here, but they sell a 10 liter of this for 14,000 naira. That's the price they're targeting it. 14,000 for the 10 liter. I don't know how they source it, but they are selling for 14,000.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you.
So you heard from Mr. Johnson. There seems to be a perfect arrangement between the sellers, the petroleum sellers, as well as the black market sellers. There seems to be a thriving black market here in Abuja, and that is the situation currently as people are waiting in line to get this product.
All right, well, thank you so much, Joshua and Bernard, for availing us the updates on fuel situation in Abuja and Lagos. Away from that, President Bola Tinubu has reiterated his administration's commitment to sustainable growth through economic reforms. Speaking in Beijing with Chinese President Xi Jinping, Tinubu praised China's economic transformation and emphasized similar reforms in Nigeria, including tax and tariff reviews to foster growth and attract investment. Tinubu assured foreign investors of easy access to the Nigerian market. Both nations signed a memoranda of understanding to enhance their partnership with Nigeria's Minister of Budget and National Planning, Atiku Bagudu, and China's National Development and Reform Commission Chairman, Zhang Chengji, formalizing the agreements. President Xi noted that the strong ties between Nigeria and China and called for deeper cooperation to boost China-Africa relations ahead of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation Summit. Nigeria's federal government has charged suspected illegal miners arrested in Kogi and Ondo states during a recent operation led by the nation's mining marshals to court. The operation, codenamed Operation Hayakin Kogo, took place in the Ika community of Ankpa local government area of Kogi State, resulting in the arrest of 2 Chinese nationals and a Nigerian for illegal mining activities. In a related development, mining marshals also raided an illegal gold mining site in the Ogunlekpa Olua Forest Reserve in Odigbo local government area of Ondo State, where 4 suspects were arrested. The arrested individuals, who were caught in the act of illegal mining gold in a government-reserved area, confessed during interrogation that they lacked the necessary licenses or authorization to carry out their operations. The Minister of Solid Minerals Development reaffirmed government's commitment to eliminating illegal mining in the country and promised the use of technology to curb the vice. The Nigeria Correctional Service has revealed that 3,590 inmates are on death row across the country's custodial centers. The service's public relations officer, Abubakar Umar, stated that the total number of inmates is 84,741, with 57,750 awaiting trial. Umar noted that the majority of inmates are awaiting trial persons, which poses a significant challenge. However, the service is taking steps to address the issue, including releasing 4,063 individuals who were given the option to pay fines or compensations. The service says it is also building new facilities, expanding community sentencing, and implementing decongestion measures. Umar also noted that the service had seen significant enhancements in the treatment and care of inmates, particularly in personal reformation, rehabilitation programs, and successful reintegration into society. He said that as of 31 August 2024, 1,282 inmates were enrolled in the National Open University of Nigeria Special Studies Center. To politics now, the People's Democratic Party Governors Forum has condemned Minister Nyesom Wike for threatening to destabilize their states over support for Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara. The governors described Wike's threats as empty and unacceptable. They reaffirmed their support for Fubara, emphasizing he should lead the Rivers PDP. Wike had warned the governors to stay out of Rivers State affairs, threatening to orchestrate crisis in their states. The governors urged the party's National Working Committee to resolve the crisis and work towards common goals. Now back to security matters. Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has cautioned partisan police officers who abandon their core professional responsibilities to pursue vested political interests to know that the enmity they feel and eventually create will hurt them in the long run. Governor Fubara gave the advice at the inauguration and formal handover of 100 operational vehicles acquired by his administration to the Rivers State Police Command at the Sharks Football Stadium in Port Harcourt on Tuesday. News Central correspondent Austin Azu completes the report.
Insecurity has been a major challenge ravaging the entire parts of Nigeria. And Rivers State in south-south region of the country is not different, as it is also grappling with sea pirates, kidnapping, armed robbery, crude oil theft, among other crimes that residents of the state have grappled with over the years. As part of the measures to tackle these challenges, the state governor, Siminalayi Fubara, is here to hand over these 100 operational vehicles to the Nigeria Police Force to enable them to go after these suspected criminals terrorizing the state.
On behalf of the government and the good people of Rivers State, officially dedicate and hand over these vehicles to the Nigerian Police Force, Rivers State Command. The vehicle will be used for the good of the people of Rivers State. Father, God Son, and God the Spirit.
Speaking of the political crisis in the state, Governor Fubara said police officers are engaged and trained as professionals to protect lives and property while contributing to the desired peace in the state as a patriotic duty. He charged them to conduct their operations as real professionals that have been so trained so that they can be effective in protecting lives and property.
And why are we doing this? We discovered that response to crime scene, to attack, and to other lot of things were being slowed because you lack mobility. And what we just did was a first phase of support to the Nigerian police. We also intend to come again to give you other sophisticated vehicles to support what you're doing.
Earlier in his opening remarks, the Rivers State Commissioner of Police Olatunji Dusu described the event as a significant milestone in the commitment towards achieving peace and security of the state.
This act of generosity not only enhances our operational capacity, but also reflects your deep concern for the citizens of the state. These vehicles will empower our officers, enabling them to respond more swiftly and effectively to emergencies and enhance our community policing efforts. With your support, sir, we are reinforcing our resolve to combat crime and uphold the rule of law.
As the saying goes that to whom much is given, much is expected. The Rivers State government hopes the kind gesture will motivate the State Police Command to go after men of the underworld, terrorizing and making rivers unsafe. In Port Harcourt for News Central, I'm Austin Azu.
Coming up, Algeria's President Abdelmadjid Tebboune seeks re-election. We'll bring you details after the break. The news continues in North Africa, where Algeria's President Abdelmadjid Tebboune is campaigning for re-election, highlighting his accomplishments. However, critics argue that the country's pro-democracy movement, Iraq, which led to the ousting of former President Abdulaziz Bouteflika in 2019, has not seen the comprehensive political overhaul it demanded. Despite Tebbouni's claims of success, analysts say a change in leadership alone is not enough and that profound political change is still needed. The Iraq movement was stifled and many of its leaders were imprisoned. Now, dozens remain behind bars or are still being prosecuted. Critics argue that economic, cultural and diplomatic progress is mere diversion without legitimate political resolution.
لازم نوصل إلى مشاريع استثمارية تفوق 20,000 مشروع استثماري. اليوم رانا في 8,900 باش نلحقها ل 20,000 إن شاء الله. 20,000 مشروع استثماري بالتسهيلات بالعقار بالسلفية نتاع البنوك وغيرها، نخلق ثروة في هذه البلاد ونخلق مناصب شغل ونخلي البلاد نتاعي تلتحق بالركب.
In Morocco's high Atlas Mountains, the village of Wigan is making steady progress in its rebuilding efforts following a devastating 6.8 magnitude earthquake that struck last year, resulting in approximately 3,000 fatalities and extensive damage to over 60,000 houses. However, in the neighboring village of Tinisk, reconstruction is proceeding at a slower pace and residents continue to face significant challenges. Numerous individuals remain living in tents, exposing them to extreme temperatures and are at risk of facing the impending cold season without adequate shelter.
باقي كيعانيو، كاينه الحراره، يقدر يدخل ثاني البرد وباقي غيكونوا هنا. في الغالب انه غيدخل البرد وغيلقاهم مازال هنا. كاين مشكل ديال الناس تريبوا ليهم ديورهم.
In southern Africa, Zimbabwean President Emmerson Mnangagwa says he plans to leave office when his tenure ends in 2028, despite calls by some members of the ruling party for him to extend his term. Mnangagwa said this while addressing Zimbabweans in Beijing, China. Mnangagwa has in the past dismissed party attempts to push him to seek a third term, saying he is a constitutionalist. However, some critics have warned that he may be trying to seek public opinion on remaining in office. To discuss this, we're joined by Alan Chipo, activist and human rights defender. He joins us from Harare, Zimbabwe. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon to you as well.
So what has been the general reaction among Zimbabweans, to Mnangagwa's announcement that he will step down in 2028? Has it been skepticism, hope, or a mix of both?
Well, look, this is not the first time in Africa to hear a president saying that he's going to abide by the constitutional provisions. We have seen it here in Zimbabwe as well during the time of President Robert Mugabe, the late, when he was saying the same. We have also seen the same in Rwanda, where President Kagame has been claiming the same. Here in Zimbabwe, you can imagine that there are talks already about extending the presidential term, despite the fact that President Emmerson Mnangagwa has came out clearly saying that he's not going to vie for the third term. But, well, look, in terms of power, African presidents are like an African visitor who goes to
Alan, you're talking about power. Now, in your view, what legacy do you think Mnangagwa will leave behind when he steps down?
Well, Mnangagwa's terms have been thwarted by a lot of violence. You can imagine the issue of contested elections. We have a lot of political activists who have been jailed during his term. These are the legacies that President Emmerson Mnangagwa is actually going to leave during when he steps out of power.
Okay, so those are notable. Are they I was going to ask if there are actually, achievements or failures, but since you talked about violence and the rest, then I'll just assume that they are definitely failures. But thank you so much, Alan, for speaking to us on this.
Thank you for having me as well. I really appreciate it.
Now, in other news from around the world, Russian President Vladimir Putin said he was expecting Chinese leader Xi Jinping to attend a summit of the BRICS group of major emerging economies in Russia next month. Putin has looked to the Chinese leader for support since the Ukraine conflict began, with the two boosting trade to record highs as Russia faces heavy economic sanctions from the West. The BRICS group, an acronym for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, represents almost half of the world's population and has since expanded to include other major emerging economies, including the United Arab Emirates and Iran. The group is set to hold a summit in the Russian city of Kazan from the 22nd to 24th of October in what the Kremlin hopes will be a chance to expand its influence and forge closer economic alliances.
Мы ждем на саммите БРИКС председателя Китайской Народной Республики господина Си.
In the world of sports, Nigerian para-table tennis player Iso Ogunkunle triumphed in his quarterfinal match at the Paris 2024 Paralympic Games, overcoming a set deficit to defeat home favorite Maxim Thompson with scores to win 3-1, 9-11, 11-5, 11-9, 11-6. This is the second match the Nigerian is coming out tops against a top-seeded player. This defeat marks the end of Maxim Thompson's, a triple Paralympic bronze medalist, his journey in the tournament. Before coming to Paris, the farthest Ogunkunle had gone at the Paralympic Games was the quarterfinals in Tokyo 2021. But now he will be playing his first ever semi-final match at the Paralympics.
It can happen like that, but it will happen like that. I did the #1 seeded in the games, and I did the 3rd seeded in the game to enter the final. I was very impressed, and it gave me morale to win more. And as the only Africa player that remained in the competition, I promise by God's grace I will give all Africa the gold medal they want from me. I, Ogunkunle Olatunji, from Nigeria.
Meanwhile, in para-athletics, Nigeria's Anna Babalola delivered a commendable performance in the women's 100 meters T54 Heat 1, finishing in 6th place with a time of 17.39 seconds. Despite her efforts, Babalola struggled with a slow start, which put her on the back foot from the outset of the race. The standout performance of the heat came from the USA's Tatiana McFadden, who set a new Paralympic record with a remarkable time of 15.55 seconds. Babalola's determination and competitive spirit were evident throughout the race, though she faced a challenging field and a difficult start. Her performance remains a significant achievement as she continues to represent Nigeria on the global stage. Still talking sports, Super Eagles forward Kelechi Iheanacho, who plays for Sevilla, has arrived at the national team camp in Uyo, increasing the number of players in camp to 21. The Super Eagles have commenced their preparations for the upcoming Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers against Rwanda, with 20 players participating in the initial training sessions. Although the team has seen a strong initial turnout, several key players, including Victor Osimhen and Maduka Okoye, are still expected to join the camp. The squad has been gradually coming together over the past few days, with recent additions including goalkeeper Amas Obasoge and midfielder Wilfred Ndidi. The arrival of Iheanacho and the continued integration of other players are expected to boost the team's readiness as they gear up for the crucial qualifiers. And that's all at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of our top stories. We told you that Nigeria Labour Congress demands immediate reversal of increase in petrol price. We also told you that PDP Governors Forum backs Fubara as Rivers PDP leader. Finally, you heard that Algeria President Abdelmadjid Tebboune seeks re-election. Send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. Do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Dashen Usman.